Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one rated sportsbook app out there. I'm your host, Rudolph, joined as always by AJ Haefele. And on today's show, we have some DraftKings picks of the week for you. Going over to Formula One. For the Bahrain GP, I'm picking Valtteri Bottas to beat Lewis Hamilton, as he occasionally does. Plus 400 to win the GP compared to Lewis's minus 240. It's probably a bad pick because Lewis just never friggin' loses these days. But you know what? For the three F1 fans that watch this show, I appreciate you. That's all I got to say about F1. Go with Bottas. I'm feeling a Valtteri 2.0 in Bahrain. DraftKings Sportsbook also, of course, giving you $1,000. Yeah, AJ, looked like you were going to mention something there. Are you an F1 fan? I don't even know.
Go Lewis.
Go Lewis. Oh, he's the best ever. There's no doubt about it.
He's the GOAT. It's like rooting for Tiger during his heyday.
Yeah,
it might be cheap, but if you're gonna watch somebody dominate a sport, dominate it, dude.
But it's kind of also like rooting for Tiger if Tiger had like a driver with a rocket attached to it that just made him hit the ball 100 yards further. But you know,
I mean, when Tiger first showed up, that's exactly what it was like. That's exactly how it felt watching him. Well, he was 19 years old at his first ever Masters or whatever. Yeah, that's exactly what that felt like.
Well, you can bet on golf too over at DraftKings Sportsbook with up to $1,000 bonus. And if you still want to get in on the Thanksgiving betting, if either of Pittsburgh or Baltimore score one touchdown on Thanksgiving, you can triple your money even, isn't it? I believe it's triple your money. Certainly double your money. It's free money. That's what they're giving you, free money. Go on over to DraftKings Sportsbook and sign up today. Use code DNVR when you do to get that $1,000 sign up bonus and get entered to make a bunch of money off of football or any other bets you want to make. Of course, you have to go over there and get their app as well. It's the number one rated sportsbook app out on the market. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus. Deposit bonus requires 25x playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. All right, let's jump into this show here. It is not quite Thanksgiving, but we're almost there. So we're going to talk about, what we're thankful for. You guys brought in a bunch of questions for us on Twitter that we'll be answering as well. So appreciate y'all. I think let's start there. I am very thankful for all of the people listening, watching, or consuming our content over at DNVR. We appreciate all you people. We wouldn't be here without you. So,
I mean, especially now.
Yeah.
We survived 5 months, a 5-month pause in the season. Now we're having another long off season that could get longer than expected if this continues. It's incredible that you guys show up for this every day when we are very clearly struggling to come up with things to talk about because the Avs had the quickest off season they've ever had in the 10 years that I've been covering the Avs in some form. They've never had an off season like this.
Yep.
And so we ran out of stuff to talk about in about 12 seconds. And you guys are still here every day. And there's a reason that Rudo and I put the effort into showing up every day and trying to find things to talk about. And it's because you guys make it worth it for us.
Straight up. All y'all are awesome. I know a handful of you sent out tweets saying you're thankful for us and all of that and all the connections that have been made. And I just want to reciprocate the same feeling. Having met a ton of you, it's awesome. And I'm super excited to keep doing it when hockey comes back and, however we can over the next whatever it is that's coming. Who knows?
Yeah, however long the ride lasts.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. I don't think anyone else is thankful for my Manscaped reads, though, Cygnus. Might just be you.
You never know.
I can tell you my wife and dog certainly aren't happy about them. But anyway, we can continue on. Yeah, I guess for you Canadians, it's not even really Thanksgiving Eve, so
it is real weird here right now because I'm like, holiday, and everybody's like, we did this like 6 weeks ago.
Been there, done that.
Over this, dude.
Okay, let's jump into some questions then. We'll get back to thankfulness at the end of the show, no doubt. But Eddie asks, if you got to swap 3 players at each position, goalie, defense, and forward, straight up for 3 players of similar skill on another team, who would they be? And so I think I'd keep Grub and swap Frankie in net. No, you'd swap Grub?
Yeah.
And then
I'd take Kemper.
Is that really equal in skill? Because that's the conversation you have to have.
Given the lack of track record, I'm going to say yes.
All right. Well, if you're stretching that definition a little bit, then maybe I could understand. But
if somebody got really picky about it, then I would say Freddie Anderson.
I'd give you that one. Yeah. Defensively, I would swap probably EJ for a younger, healthier caliber EJ.
So there's no example there.
A DeMello or somebody, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Boy, yeah, I really don't know. I don't know who I would swap off that defense because I'm having a hard time coming up with. EJ, I would probably swap for like a Radko Gudas.
I mean, I'm giving EJ more credit than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that at this point, whatever offensive upside EJ has is kind of
irrelevant. Yeah, that's true.
And so I'm kind of leaning towards maybe a EJ for Brendan Dillon. How about that?
There you go. That's a good one. I can live with that.
As much as Evan hates it for some really weird reason.
Forward.
Ranted in for Svechnikov. Done.
No, I would not do that. I would swap Jonas Donskoy for someone paid less than Jonas Donskoy of equal skill. Does that count?
How about Kadri for O'Reilly?
Yeah, I'd probably do that. Is that close enough in skill caliber again?
No,
yeah, probably not.
I think O'Reilly's got him.
Yeah, I think so too.
But how about 3C Paul Stastny for Comfer?
Is that again? we needed more defined, like what range considers equal skill. I think here. What was Paul Stastny's last year? I mean, I guess he only put up 38 points last year. You're in the ballpark there. Comfer had what? 32?
Is something like that?
I don't know off the top of my head. 31 and a couple less games played. I mean, maybe I could be convinced that that's an equal trade.
How about Comfer for Mikko Koivu?
I don't think I'd do it, man.
Koivu, even though he's dynamite defensively, you have Koivu and Nichushkin next to each other.
Yeah, but the Koivu's at the end of the rope, man.
Sure, I'm talking about just for this year.
Even then, like I'm saying,
I'm not worrying about contracts. Clearly, I keep going for 1 year dudes.
I'm seriously concerned about Koivu like keeping up this year.
I think that's I mean, he's definitely like sheltered role.
So happy Thanksgiving.
Maybe that's more Koivu for Belmar, but I feel like that's
that I do. Clear. But yeah, definitely.
That I feel like that's too clear cut of an upgrade.
Yeah, right. This is the problem with this question. Is it's like if you just give me the obvious better player, I'll take him for sure. But
yeah, I think the only semi-controversial thing that we have here is that I would swap Rantanen in for Svechnikov.
I wouldn't do that. So. I don't know. How about this? And this is definitely probably not, and it's probably not equal, but Landeskog for Brady Tkachuk.
I was going to say Matthew.
I think Matthew's too good. I was going to go that way too, but.
Yeah. Burakovsky for LeBanc, definitely no.
No, wouldn't do that.
LeBanc is way too reliant on teammates to be successful.
Yep.
Burakovsky brings an element Colorado needs. So if you're swapping Burakovsky, you need to get another goal scorer. Yeah.
Tough one. Definitely a tough question.
Defensively, I think it's a lot harder because it's like if I was, I mean, the similar talent thing is where we are, you know? Because it's like, okay, if you swap out Graves or Cole, then you're getting somebody similar back, but it's like those guys are perfectly fine as they are. I don't know why I'm swapping any of them out.
Yeah.
So
take your old dudes and get younger, or dump your money is kind of the move if you're actually doing equal skill. But
I tell you, if we take personal feelings about them out of it, Landeskog for Marchand.
Yeah, like especially if you're not worried about aging curve.
Yeah,
like you take a 1 year.
Yeah, because he brings kind of that pest element that they can still use a little more of, but he's turned himself into a really, really good two-way player.
Yep. Might not even be equal level there, the way Marchand has exploded over the last couple of years.
It would definitely, the talent definitely goes Colorado's way in that one, but
we all rating Landy way too high in here in the chat. Those are probably memes. Next question. This one will be very short, but I've been asked it 3 times today.
Oh, I've got one. How about Kadri for William Karlsson?
That one is interesting. I don't know if I do it, but I think you're probably pretty equal there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on.
This will be quick. I just have been asked it 3 times today. Mikhail Sergachev is not a comparable contract to Cale Makar.
No. No.
If you don't know, he signed a $4.8 million 3-year bridge today. His highest season is a 40-point season. So,
yep. If Cale Makar is going to sign a bridge, it's going to be more like $6.5 million or $7 million.
Yep.
So it's still going to be really quite expensive.
They're just not in the same ballpark at all on that one. So
barring Cale Makar having the very Avsian sophomore slump.
If he goes
because
the very anti-Cale Makar sophomore year, but
all of Colorado's big guys over the last couple of years, the only one that had a good sophomore year was Mikko.
Yep. So, and even like, what does a sophomore slump for him look like? Is it 40 points, 30 points? Like, if it's a 40 points in 60 games, he's, as long
as it's a healthy sophomore slump.
True.
I don't know that I care too much, but anyway.
How many firsts is equal to a McKinnon? Too many. We do need to take our first period break and let you guys know about Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. Of course, you can always get it down at the farmhouse or get it at your local liquor store using the Breck Beer Locator online. And as we're just a couple days away, gearing up now, DNVR doing a massive Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale where you can get up to 80% off when you go to the DNVR locker and purchase some of our merch. Look, 80% off is ridiculous. Go check out Ali Monroy's Twitter. We just got our new hoodies in that look nice.
They look so good, dude.
I need to get one myself. And why not when they're ridiculously cheap on Black Friday? If you spend $75 or more, you'll get a $15 gift card that you can apply starting on December 1st. And certainly, last but not least, if you sign up for an annual membership, you'll also get a $60 gift card. Annual memberships cost $59.99. So you're basically buying $60 of merch and getting an annual membership thrown in, because why not? Might as well jump on it. Do it while you can. It's a great time to support DNVR. Again, as we mentioned off the top of the show, it's been some wild months for all companies, really. We're one of them too. So head on over to DNVR Locker on Friday and enjoy some weekend of killer deals all the way up through Monday as well. Mark your calendars and support us, please, I guess. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Got a Thanksgiving question here, AJ. Favorite non-traditional side for Thanksgiving? And
I don't know. That's tough for me because I'm not sure what's considered traditional.
Yeah, me either. So I don't even think this is considered a side, but bacon. I know a lot of people do turkey wrapped bacon or bacon wrapped turkey, I guess. But bacon with Thanksgiving is mwah.
I tell you, the last time I went to Texas, we deep fried the turkey.
Ooh.
And I'm not the biggest turkey fan in the world, but that was
a fried turkey leg, pretty good.
That also is not a side. So I guess
not really non-traditional though. I think you qualified part of the question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the only time of year in which I eat green bean casserole, and I think it's so bomb.
I never have green bean casserole ever.
I'm
not from the Midwest.
I have no idea if that's traditional or not. I think that's a great point, though, is that kind of depending on where you're from, things are a little bit different.
Because my wife is definitely all about the green bean casserole from the Midwest for sure. But
and we had like sweet potatoes and like candied yams in Texas, but not in Colorado.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Colorado is pretty standard. At least mine was pretty standard Thanksgiving, cranberry sauce stuffing, that kind of stuff. But
yeah, stuffing's like an all-time favorite food of mine, so I'm just like
jamming.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Pumpkin pie is probably my favorite pie, to be honest with you, because
apple pie's better, but
I'm not a huge pie guy, so that's my big qualifier.
And pumpkin pie is basically a cake.
I'm not a huge cake guy either. It's like a carrot cake, and then talk me into it.
I mean, me either, to be honest, but I'm more of a pie guy. I do like pie, but
see, I'm having pierogies for the first time ever tonight. Whenever this pod is over.
Ooh, interesting.
So, I've never had them, so this is going to be. I'm looking forward to it. I've been told I was told I was not allowed to have them until I got to Winnipeg because there's something that gets done well here. So
it's a Winnipegian thing. All right.
Oh wait,
pecan pie is dumpster tier.
I'm excited.
Pecan pie is awful.
I'm not the biggest. Again, not a huge pie guy, but pecan pie just really did not do it for me.
People cannot believe you've never had pierogies.
When people find out things that I haven't eaten before, they freak out. Especially salsa. That's always the one that causes people to lose their minds.
Sticking with Thanksgiving here, Steph asks, which past and present Av would you want to join your hypothetical Thanksgiving dinner? That's a tough one.
What kind of dinner am I trying to go for here? Am I going for a perfectly respectable and polite dinner? Then it's like Landy.
Yeah, true.
Am I trying to set my sister up with somebody? Like,
still Landy.
Then Landy.
I see. That's like if you're trying to get someone super drunk, I'd love to try and get Joe Sakic in and get a bunch of stories out of him, but I don't know how realistic that would be.
Yeah, if I'm going for a rowdy dinner, it's Patrick Waugh.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. Yeah.
If I'm trying to do it on a really weird reality TV show, it's Peter Forsberg.
If you're going over to the in-laws who you really hate, it's Scott Parker.
Shout out Scott Parker, now a firefighter.
Yeah. Who is the Avs' most eligible bachelor? No idea.
Yeah, I don't stalk their Instagram enough to know which ones are committed and not.
Me either.
To be honest, I don't care. I hope those guys all have the situations that they want.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't, I hope they're working towards them.
Yep.
In respectful and polite ways. But I would imagine, I mean, Makar and Jost are like, they're two adorable human beings that if they're single, they won't be.
I think all they have to do is not want to be single, and they won't be, but...
True.
All right. Next up, Luke from Winnipeg asks, thoughts on the 2021 draft class? And if the NHL allows for an expanded roster, should the Avs go out and get a third goalie? 21 draft class doesn't matter because the Avs are going to be picking 32. That's my thoughts on it.
Draft a guy from Michigan is my thoughts on that draft class. They look unbelievable, man.
Yeah, they're just murking.
They look so good. I've been a Matty Beniers fan for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Have been less, have known about Owen Power for a long time. Have been less exposed to Kent Johnson. Holy that guy is that guy's dynamite.
Dude can play.
That guy is dynamite. It's so impressive. That team is so good. I'm a big fan of those cats. The Finnish kid has off to a really slow start. Again, kind of like who was it the Florida drafted? He can't skate. I already forgot about it.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Anton Lundell.
Yep.
He was the guy who had ripped it up in Finland when he was 16, and everybody was so hyped on him, like, oh, this is gonna be the next guy. And he's still a good prospect, of course, and he's in line to be a good NHL player. But this kid, he's ratty. He's same thing right now.
Yep.
All the 16-year-old hype is starting to come off now that it's the draft year and it's go time.
It's the way it goes.
It's easy. It's really easy to hype up, to be hyped on guys that are underage, because you're not picking apart their game. You're just being excited about the good things.
For sure.
And then when it gets to be draft year, all of a sudden you're like, it's not a very good skater.
We actually have to look at how this guy plays hockey. Hang on.
Boy, he's really not very physical, is he? Boy, he only does good things when he has a lot of space around him. How, stuff like that starts to become the conversation a lot more when you start trying to rank them on a list, and you're not just be like, keep an eye on this guy.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. On the potential extended roster, I would have to think that if they were carrying a third goalie, it would be Miska. I assume they want Werner to play games in the AHL if possible.
It would kind of depend on what the third role looked like.
Sure.
And that's where having your AHL team right up the road from you would be a massive boon.
Yep.
Because if Miska's going to start in Loveland, having Werner as your third guy is totally fine. If they want Werner to get as much game action in the AHL as possible, Miska's your third guy is perfectly fine. Miska's the guy that you're theoretically less invested in, but at this point, it's a race to see who wins the job and who becomes the third guy.
I don't disagree, but if you're talking about an extended squad, barring an injury, you're assuming that third goalie that's traveling with the team is just not going to play for a while at very least. Mm-hmm. And if I had to pick one to play, at least right now today, I'd pick Werner as still a developing prospect. But
yeah, it would be tough though, because they don't have the same kind of goaltender depth behind those guys that they have in previous years.
That's true.
So who's your backup after that in Loveland right now?
You're running Werner and somebody.
Half of the ECHL just folded up shop for the season, so you're in a really tough spot here.
Yeah.
So the extended squad could have serious
implications there for sure.
Yeah, it's one where it's like when you're on the road, you take one of those guys, but if you're at home, you leave them both up there.
Colin says, do you think the Avs a surprise 1 year cheap signing left in the tank this offseason? Absolutely not.
No.
We've been talking about since last offseason that they just don't have room to do it anymore.
They super not now. It's not even like roster room. They don't have cap space for it.
Yep. If their cheap offseason acquisition should be Martin Kaut, basically.
Yeah. So just for reference here, the Avs are currently sit at 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders, and have 1.8 million in cap space.
Which is 2 scratches. Take that down to $400K or something. Like
exactly. You put Martin Kaut 863, and then pick a defenseman, probably Bowen Byram at 894. Those guys are coming in just under 1.8 million.
Just no room.
Yeah, there's not space for that. And you want Kaut needs to be involved, Byram needs to be involved. None of that considers Connor Timmins, Dennis Gilbert, any of the other guys that are going to vie for jobs, and Logan O'Connor. So no, they don't have that space.
Yep. I know you got these back in the States, but Colin, you also asked on Twitter, now that AJ's out in Canada, how much does he love ketchup chips?
They're good. I liked them. I was really excited about them when I went to Vancouver for the draft. I remember I went into the gas station at the airport because I was like the person with the car, so everybody that flew in, I had to go and pick everybody up at that airport. I got very familiar with that airport while I was there. And I stopped at the gas station and I bought like 5 different brands of them because I'd never had them before. It was like, all right, well, let's do it. The ketchup chips are good. I would say I like all dressed Ruffles more. I think those are better. But the ketchup chip, they are very good. They're very sweet though.
All dressed are strictly better, I would agree. But
yeah, all dressed is definitely better. The all dressed Ruffles especially are. And I haven't dipped them in anything, but that's coming.
Step 2, phase 2 of the
it would have been honestly, had I been thinking about it, it would have been perfect for Thanksgiving football. To just
that would have some dip. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, hey, it's not a holiday here tomorrow. Everything's still open. It's just a matter of me going to get it.
Yep. Fave holiday tradition you've adopted from partner, friend, other, family that you didn't grow up with?
We don't get to do it this year.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years I've traveled with the Avs for Christmas. Christmas was a big thing for me growing up. I had a very tight-knit family. It was a big holiday. All of that went away when my dad died when I was junior in high school. We just sort of splintered and never really recovered. And Christmas has not been anywhere near the same. And so it's been predominantly a negative thing in my life since then. The last couple of years, the Avs were in Vegas. So I was in Vegas. 2 years ago, it was just with my buddy James. Last year, it was also my buddy James, but a whole bunch of other people. We had a big group that went out last year together for the Avs game, which they smoked Vegas. And then we went out and partied pretty hard that night and the next night. And it was an awesome time. And the lady and I have agreed that in the future, that's what we want to continue to do. Wherever the Avs are for Christmas,
that's where you roll out. Yeah.
Yeah. And that gives us an excuse to go somewhere every year. If it's in Denver, great.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. We'll
go
get an Airbnb or something
downtown.
downtown. Yeah, exactly. We'll get a nice hotel room downtown and we'll make a night of it. It'll be something that we do because Christmas isn't it's not a great thing for either one of us. So that's kind of what we've adopted in the infancy of our relationship, and I'm very much looking forward to doing it again in the future. Awesome. This year being a monstrosity, can't do any of that. So I'm not sure what we're doing for Christmas this year. We're very much wait and see on that one.
I was gonna my favorite is very recent is DNVR's Friendsgiving, which we're also can't really do this year, but
can't do it. And this would have been the third one, and I will have missed 2 of them.
Yep.
I only got to go to last year's, and it was awesome. And then I almost died on the drive home. So did not happen. I did not die.
That's good.
And
generally good.
And it ended up being a great memory that night. We had a ton of fun that night.
Yeah, that's super fun. I hadn't even been with the company very long at that point. I mean, I still haven't been with the company that long. But anyway, we can take our second period break there and to talk to y'all about Chevalier Mortgage. I know AJ's looking to buy a house up in Canada right now, allegedly, but
might have.
You might have already
done the thing. Yeah, we'll see.
Dang. Well, hopefully, congratulations. If you're looking to buy here in Colorado, however, you can call Virginia or Mike directly at 303-257-6578 or go to DNVRmortgage.com to get set up with a free consultation. And if you go to DNVRmortgage.com, you can also get set up for a chance to win a free DNVR shirt or hat. So jump on it and at least head on over there for that. Both Mike and Virginia believe that your home is likely to be one of your largest assets and your mortgage your largest debt, and that it's vital to consider your full financial picture when purchasing a home. This includes considering your short-term and long-term planning goals, your investments, and your tax situation. Mike and Virginia will work tirelessly to find the best loan for your situation, so again, visit them at dnvrmortgage.com. Michael Chevalier, NMLS 1931006, Virginia Chevalier, NMLS 1910631. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Quoteless Jones asks, which player/coach are you most thankful for having had the chance to cover?
Oh, lots of them.
Yeah, I
mean, Barbs, obviously.
In a professional capacity, I've only covered the ads for 1 year, so can I just say all of them? Like, is that allowed?
Yeah, I've been fortunate that in my time covering the Avs, it's been mostly a lot of good dudes, and the ones who weren't there very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jerome McKinley, my first year on the beat. Does it get any better than that?
That's
guys like Mark
Fire Hall of Famer type, yeah.
Obviously Landy is great. Eric Johnson is great. Jost is great. Kale McCarr is great. There's a lot of these guys that are just awesome dudes. Colin Wilson was great. Matt Nieto was great. I got along really well with Mikhail Bodker, kind of randomly.
Yeah.
Zadorov was always a lot of fun. So, pick no way I could pick one.
Like I said, I've been with DNVR for a year and a couple months now. And it like the feeling doesn't go away. I still wake up every day and it's like I cover hockey for a living. That's pretty sick. I don't know. So it's obviously cool. Extremely thankful to be here and have the opportunity to cover the Avs and all of that. It's super amazing. And yeah.
I know somebody asked a question about personality.
We can find it, I'm sure. I just have to dig through who on the current team and who in history of the team has been the weirdest person.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't. Yeah, okay, this was it. I wasn't entirely sure what weirdest meant.
Qualifies as, yeah.
Maybe the biggest oddball that I've covered in a fun way was Nick Holden. That was a dude I'll never forget. After a game, he was sitting. He was at his locker, had taken his gear off. He's not talking to reporters. I was talking to EJ, and as I got done talking to EJ, I was standing there, saving my file and doing all that stuff. And I look over, and Nick Holden is just playing air guitar with nobody around him, just doing his own thing
out
in completely his own world. And he was always kind of like that. He was always really just a total goof troop.
Hi, Mama Haefele.
He was a lot of fun. Yeah. My mom popping in to remind me that I need to make a phone call later.
All right. We got a couple more questions here. Let's see if I can find it. Most underrated Avs player is Andrei Burakovsky, or if not, who?
currently.
I assume, but not specified.
Underrated by the fan base or nationally?
Whatever you want.
I can never just answer these questions, can I? I have to make them difficult.
There's got to be qualifications.
I think by the fan base, it's Grubauer.
Yeah, based on the past couple days, yeah.
I think it's Grubauer, man. By nationally, I still think it's Sam Girard.
Yeah, I was like, is it Girard? Well, I don't know, but
Burakovsky, I don't feel is all that underrated. I feel like it's
I don't think Burakovsky's underrated after last year.
He showed up. He had expectations. We talked about him and said if he totally goes off, he's going to be a 20-plus goal guy, and he's going to be a perfect fit. That's exactly what happened.
Yep.
It was best case scenario with that acquisition. Everybody's pleased with it. He got a hefty raise, and he's in line to make even more money if he keeps it up. Yep. The only reason that you would say he's the 5th best player in their top 6 is because their top 6 has just a ton of talent in it. 2 truly elite players at the top. One, and Kadri and Landeskog are both in that very, very good tier, just under elite. And then I would say that's where Burakovsky is trying to break into that class.
I mean, if he breaks into that class, Av should win a cup.
That's why we talk about them the way that we do, is because that's a possibility, man.
Yep. Exactly.
So.
And there's so many avenues to it, you know. If Saad plays that well, if Byram ends up being what people hope they can be, there's just so many opportunities. But of Donskoy, Compher, and Graves, rank them amongst likelihood they finish their contracts as Avs. I think it's the expansion draft makes it so hard.
Graves.
I think I'd have Graves first too.
Compher and then Donskoy. The center. If you're talking about protecting in the expansion draft, the center viability for Compher just makes him a little more valuable. Mm-hmm. So if you're for the 7th forward spot, if that's the conversation that they're having, Compher's more valuable.
The thing is, I would almost
Younger,
flip them
cheaper.
Because I'd say if they don't protect either of them, they're more likely that Seattle takes Compher. But
I would agree, but I think because of Compher, because younger, cheaper, and center versatility, you would say that he's more valuable. Therefore, they're likelier to protect him, increasing his chances that he stays.
Yep.
But I think Graves should be here for that. I would be so surprised if Seattle took Ryan Graves.
Yeah, I'd be.
And that's today, not knowing what next season looks like. If he has another really good season, that conversation can certainly change. But I would be very surprised.
On essentially a 1-year track record, making $3 million for probably a bottom pairing defenseman, or if maybe Seattle plays him in their top 4 or whatever. But on established teams, probably a bottom pairing guy. It seems unlikely.
Well, and you're Seattle's GM.
Yep.
You are looking at Colorado's roster and you're saying Eric Johnson has 2 years left at $6 million. Ryan Graves has 2 years left at $3.1 million. Obviously, Graves is the younger guy, but signed for the next 2 years, which is the better player.
Yep.
Which is the guy that I'm betting on when I'm starting my defense completely fresh.
Yeah.
Which guy would you prefer? There's a good argument that you would prefer EJ in that situation.
I think there is, and that's if you don't want the established 35-point guys in Donskoy or Compher up front, assuming one of them's available.
Yeah, because that's exactly the kind of guy that Vegas built their forward core around and had great success with.
Yep. So
I would still say if I'm Seattle right now, the guy that I'm looking at Colorado's roster and the one that I very quietly want the most is Tyson Jost. Between cost, expanded role, and age.
Yeah.
That's your William
you can expect
Karlsson.
to break out at in a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
He's your William Karlsson.
Yep. Let's see. Any other questions? We kind of already answered that one. Well, we just got one in like super late. Let's see. People still ain't giving questions. Sorry, I'm clearly very prepared for today's show. If the Avs don't re-sign Saad, is the current Zadorov-Lindholm trade better value than the opportunity cost of trading Z for something else?
This one, maybe a little hindsight involved, because had they made the Taves deal first, they could have then moved Zadorov for maybe a second round pick to recoup the asset that they lost in the Taves deal.
Yep.
Maybe 2/3 instead to make up for the lack of 2 seconds, whatever it ended up being.
Pick
but
value.
It probably wouldn't be that much more than a second or third round pick, maybe 2/3 if they were late, depending on the team. And then gone into free agency and given a 1-year deal to Mikael Granlund and said, hey, come figure it out. Come see if you're super dope on this team. Or a 3-year deal to Mike Hoffman, or, the 3-year deal that Dadonov got from Ottawa. Like, whatever, right? Like, pick a guy on a cheaper, the Toffoli 4-year deal. Had you known that was going to be the deal, maybe that's your approach instead. And you maybe it's a little bit more well-rounded for long-term. But ultimately, I don't have, if Brandon Saad is here for 1 year and then he leaves, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Zadorov wasn't long for Colorado. They took a chance. There's plenty of value in, we built the absolute best team that we could to go win a Stanley Cup this year. There's still value in that.
Yeah, I agree. Zadorov was going, like you said. If you don't trade Zadorov for a top 6 forward, you're having a question, right? The tweet that this was in goes on to say, well, they could have signed Granlund or someone else, but Saad is going to give you something a little bit more established there, as opposed to someone that you're hoping for a bounce back season out of.
Well, and it's a role that he's already played, because it's like, hey, you put him next to established players, go be a complimentary player next to high-level players and go do a very specific job. He does that job well. He's consistently done it well in his career. He's got great underlying numbers forever for a reason. He's just, he's a very good fit for what they do, which is why we talked about him at the start of the offseason and said, this is a guy that makes sense. They've liked him for a long time, and here's an opportunity for them.
Yep.
They win and they made it happen, and then we'll see where it goes from here. But for just this year, you have to love what the Avs have done on their roster. There are only nitpicks at this point.
Yep.
Even the biggest Philip Grubauer haters, it's like, okay, well, you're being too harsh about this.
For sure. Last question of the show. Which Av would win a turkey trot? Let's call it a 5K race. We know McKinnon's fast on the ice, but can he run fast?
I have no idea.
Yeah, me either.
I'm sure one of these dudes that we think is like in amazing shape, and like,
right.
I'm sure one of them like hates running.
Just never wants to run ever. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, this is why I skate. I love to put on the skates and I love the feel on the ice. So I hate running. Okay. I get that. I really don't know. But I would pick probably Gerard.
I was leaning that way too. Just someone small, right? That doesn't have to carry as much weight through a run, because you don't get the glide from skating that you get in a run.
I definitely want to pick a defenseman, because those guys are just
animals. Yeah.
They play 25 minutes a night,
Yep.
But I don't trust EJ's knees.
Yeah, that's true.
And I do follow Gerard's puppy on Instagram.
Thing goes on some walks.
Gerard is always working out. So
there you go.
Okay. So I'll go with Gerard, I guess. We have not touched on Johnny Boychuk retiring. It sucks. It sucks to end this way.
Yep.
It hurts the Islanders because he's been a really good player for them. It helps the Islanders because $6 million is a lot of money that they just freed up to give Matt Barzal whatever contract he needs, plus whatever the free agent deals are going to cost with the guys that they have agreed to deals with, the Matt Martins and the Corey Schneiders and whatever. One of the big Avs misses in recent history. And we talked about how much they needed defense and how much how different do you feel about Colorado's defense if it's Erik Johnson, Johnny Boychuk, and Tyson Barrie on the right side?
Yeah. I mean, dude, Boychuk is the exact type of guy that you can reliably get pucks out of your defensive end for you that the Avs missed for that decade, basically.
Yeah, he was the exact, and they did all the development of him.
Yep, he played NHL games for the Avs.
Yeah, and they did all of the development of him, and he played all the years in the AHL for them. He goes to Boston, and immediately his career takes off. Just one of their bigness, just a total disaster for them.
Yep.
It's like kind of like the Ryan Graves thing, but they're on the wrong end of it, and like there hadn't been any reason for them to give up on Johnny Boychuk.
Yep.
I have never understood it. I wasn't nearly as invested in the day-to-day stuff.
Sure.
As back then, so I don't, I'm less comfortable with how the organization, like what the relationship was like, how the org felt, but none of that matters. They got it wrong. Like they flat out got it wrong. Yeah, Kevin Shattenkirk stays. Maybe Tyson Barrie is the one they send to St. Louis. But either way, like it's you could have easily had Tyson Barrie, Johnny Boychuk, and Erik Johnson on the same defense, and you should have.
Yeah, the massive ripple effect from that will never be calculable. But
how many years did they go after defensemen that were exactly like Johnny Boychuk?
Scott Hannon, I guess that was before, but in more recent years, guys like Brad Stewart, Brett Clark, Jan Hayda,
Francois Beauchemin,
Beauchemin too.
They just kept going after these types of dudes, and they had one, and they just gave him away for Matt Hendricks.
Yep.
Whose great claim to fame was being better in a shootout than he was at 5v5. It's just a bigness. And they could have had a very good right side of that defense, and instead blew it. And it sucks that it ends this way. It's very fishy because he had given an interview over the summer where he was like, I'm 100%. He played a couple of playoff games. It didn't go well.
Yep.
Now his career is over, and it's extremely convenient
LTIR.
Yeah. Although it's not like the Isles didn't give up anything. They got 2 second-round picks for Devon Taves, who would have been a perfect replacement for Johnny Boychuk.
True.
In that lineup, who was a perfect replacement. So another tough day for the Isles.
Well,
but
maybe instead of getting too worked up about it, you can have some Strava Craft coffee, the CBD-infused coffee that's really changed lives. Been known to help many aches and pains, IBS, migraines, many other issues as well. Head on over to StravaCraftCoffee.com to get your coffee today. Use code DNVR20 to get 20% off when you purchase. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's about it for today's show. As we're wrapping up here, I just want to express my thanks again to everyone listening, watching, consuming the podcast, and all of our other DNVR content as well. You guys have been nothing short of awesome to us. So yeah, I hope everyone, at least in the States, has a happy Thanksgiving. If you're in Canada or Europe, have a good Thursday, I guess.
Yeah, have a good Thursday away from us, because we will not. Yep. We will be dark tomorrow.
Yep. We're taking tomorrow off to enjoy our holiday. We will be back on Friday though with Free
Black
Skate Friday. Yeah, one of bringing back everybody's favorite. Get your eBay trigger fingers ready. I want to see something purchased before the show's even over that we show.
That's right. Where's Kira?
Yeah, exactly.
And then a reminder, check your emails
Yep.
for those who wanted to be part of the fantasy draft. It's on Sunday evening. We've sent out invites for all that stuff. We're getting all that ready to go. And then I'd like to immediately transition from that into setting up the expansion draft.
Yep.
That one will be a lot easier. I just don't want to do it again because it took us
forever. Yeah, it was a long process.
Yeah. That one will be like you guys send us protection lists and we make a team.
Yep. That one's a lot easier. But this Sunday, I think most of you are already in our Discord server. We have about 20 of you, 22 of you. So still waiting on a couple of you. If you haven't responded, hit me up and we'll get you in there and we'll be all good for Sunday. Yeah, that's it. So hope to see everybody on Friday and then those of you on the draft floor on Sunday. But thank you once again. And we are going to get out of here until Friday. So have a good one and we will talk to you guys later.